Hey, Howard here again from 82 Maple. If you've ever thought about having your own portable sawmill or other wood processing equipment so that you can design and build exactly what you want in terms of a greenhouse, a small shed, or other building for your property, then this video is for you. Here's the thing. There's a certain amount of satisfaction that just comes with starting from nothing. Well, not exactly nothing, but a tree like this that has blown down or is about to blow down and do some pretty significant property damage. Starting there and building something that a month or 3 months from now is just in full use and a permanent part of your little property community. There's something also about just being able to custom cut the exact right piece and not being constrained by what one gets at the lumber yard. I mean, sure, there might be an incremental monetary savings as a result of milling your own wood, but the real freedom comes from not being constrained to a 2x4 or a 4x4, but if I need a 3x3, if I need a 3¼ by 3¼ post for a corner somewhere, I can do that. You get the point. And the other thing is, I really like the texture of small sawmill, band mill wood. There's something about the feel of wood that isn't fully planed, but isn't as rough as from a large commercial sawmill either. So let's take a little walk around the greenhouse, and Coral is going to just pan back and give us a view. We took this from a little literal napkin sketch to reality over the course of about 3 weekends. Just leveled a little spot here. I had some wood from the band mill, cut a few more pieces, and what you're looking at here is a Douglas fir frame. And we'll go inside here, and the planter boxes are all cedar. But probably one of the key things that I could say about this little structure is, except for the clear laminate and the fan that's over there in the corner, pretty much everything else is recycled. Oh yeah, the lights. Had to flip on the lights for you here as well. So the wood, both the Douglas fir and the cedar, were all from blowdown trees this last winter. We had some strong winds. The door we just came through was on its way to the garbage dump following a little bit of a renovation we had done, and the door was pretty much inoperable. And figuring that we might want more glass than less, and a really decent door that we could get a wheelbarrow through for the little greenhouse, Coral and I kind of took it apart one Sunday morning, put it all back together, and it works perfectly. Much better here than in the dump. The nails and screws are also recycled. My dad moved off his property and into a retirement facility a few years ago, so all of that came from emptying out his shop. This is really interesting back here. My dad started his career in the sawmilling business as a millwright, and it's about 55 years ago that he hand built this. This was his breakdown emergency toolbox. When the sawmill ground to a halt because of a problem with a piece of equipment, he had everything in this box that he needed to tend to the most typical types of breakdown issues he had to deal with. And there it is. My mom passed away a number of years ago now. Her favorite herb was parsley. And so here we are shooting this in October, but this past summer, this was brimming with parsley. And some of the odds and ends you see hanging around here came from my dad's place. He had collected, and tools from various properties that he had been on over the years. And again, one of the really neat things about having one's own cutting apparatus is the finish on some of the little shelves we put up. We try and use live edge as liberally as possible. And further, what you don't see below the surface here of the boxes is some custom cut wood to keep these boxes together. The weight of the soil down at the bottom of the box is pretty incredible when it's wet, and these would all be bulging now, except that Coral and I installed some substantial cross bracing down there, glued and screwed it in for durability. So it's just been a ton of fun, and just little things to set a watering tin on. A little planer, an odd piece of wood. This particular piece of wood might look to you like it's about 8 inches wide. It's actually a complete misfit of no commercial value, but out of it, we cut a few pieces for around the greenhouse. This table was recycled. It was on its way to the dump or to a storage bin somewhere. Quickly put together some planter boxes out of live edge. Coral found a table and a couple of chairs at a new and used store. I don't know, what did you pay for
Antiques, $70.
$70. The bricks came from a renovation project, leftovers from something we had done. Again, threw a little live edge around to contain them. And it just couldn't have been more fun. A half barrel that had served at something in a previous life became the planter for one of my all-time favorite garden plants, that being rhubarb. We had an old stove that had been rusting for I don't know how long, and it had rusted with the previous owner and the one before that. A little shot of paint, a bracket to secure it, so if the grandchildren get rough housing, it's not going to tip over and injure anyone. And a wheelbarrow. I was on the business end of this wheelbarrow when my dad brought it home new. It's got to be 55 years ago again. And we took it all apart and just had to have it as part of our little garden community. One of the unintended outcomes of building a couple of outside planter boxes when we ran out of room inside the greenhouse is that some friends of ours seen them, so I ended up making some planter boxes for them. And again, just nothing more fulfilling. So why don't we just take a walk back up and see what's happening at the sawmill up here. There's been some progress since the last video. Hey, there's Romy on the topsoil pile. Incidentally, all of that topsoil that was in the greenhouse, Coral and I kind of slugged in there with 5-gallon buckets. We brought it as close to the door as we could with our little John Deere loader, and then it was into the greenhouse. So that's a better workout than one would typically get at the gym if one leans into it hard. What else have we got going here? I think you've probably seen the log decks before, and I keep going back to them because it's just so neat to go over there, pick the piece of wood that's going to fit the job, go to work, put it on the sawmill, clamp it down, start cutting. I usually do a little diagram on the end of the log, just kind of going, okay, I'm going to need a couple of 2x4s. I need a 6x6 out of the middle, and an hour later, there it is, ready to go. So we've actually got a little project underway up here, and we're going to pull the tarp off of this as soon as it quits raining. I'll get Coral to just help me flip this back. I'm thinking we can get this tarp out from under here. There we go. So this is going to be a fascinating little project. It's going to be a 7 by 7.5 foot garden shed. You'll see that there's some 4x4s underneath there. I did go to a commercially treated 4x4 for that with some holes drilled into it, so that when the construction of that shed is complete, I can just put a chain through there, jump on the little excavator, and really tow it anywhere I want to. In this case, it's going to go on the flat deck over here, and it's going to be transported probably 45 minutes to an hour from here because it's not only going to be the outdoor storage shed for my oldest son's lawnmower, yard tools, etc., but it's going to have a second story on it. And the second story is going to be a little larger than the base. It's going to be 7 by 10 because it's going to be a playhouse for a granddaughter and grandson, a little ladder going up and a little deck, a little railing around the deck. It's going to be a very cool project. I've got about half of the wood for it drying over there in the drying shed. I've got to cut about another 60 1.5 by 3 inch true cut studs. They're going to be a little shorter than usual, and we'll video the build on that and share it out with you. Meanwhile, the edger is coming together very nicely. I probably have another 4 or 5 hours of work to do on that, and we'll get that put together and get it up and running here at some point over the course of the weekend. This is going to be the first board through the edger. It's a true 1.5 inches here. We're going to slice it down into those 1.5 by 3 inch studs that I was just referencing. One last thing. This, I figure anything that has blue ink on a white piece of paper, one can legitimately call a blueprint. So this is the blueprint for the little storage shed combination playhouse. And again, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to put some interesting things in it, like a couple of lounge areas, a couple of little desks, a little bookshelf, some windows. So it'll take shape out here over the next 3 or 4 weeks, something like that. Looking to our little Norwood here to produce some great lumber, some great live edge. Hey, thanks for tuning in to 82 Maple. And I just have to tell you, so here's my partner in crime that helps me with all of this, the wonderful Coral Dawn. She does all the wood burning that we do around here at 82 Maple. She spent, I don't know, how many hours of time did you spend, and what did I miss about the greenhouse that's important?
No, you did good. The burning, probably maybe an hour or so per building or project that we take, and
yeah, we just fire up the propane torch and throw a little heat at it. Gets rid of any mildew that's on the wood.
Yeah, I got to get out all my aggressions with the fire, with the torch.
For sure. And it keeps us smiling. It makes us happy. We hope that these little video episodes put a smile on your face and keep you happy as well. 82 Maple, Canadian woodworkers still have all 8 fingers and 2 thumbs. Here's to you having a terrific week.